I'm Ian.
And I'm Jono, and we are Bike Gearheads.
And today we're going to give you a review of the Bianchi Impulso. This is their gravel bike, and where this falls in their line is going to be more of their race gravel bikes. They also have the Curated, and that is more of like an adventure bike. It can run 700, 650s. This is like 700cc dedicated race gravel bike from Bianchi.
And it does seem fairly racy, just the way it's spec'd and everything like that. This is their comp build, correct?
Yes, this is the comp build behind us. They do all the way up to like an RC build. A lot of their like stuff is like RC is their top of the line right now. So yeah, this is their comp. Just a couple things about this bike is it was redesigned recently. We saw the new ones at Sea Otter this year. And a kind of a funny story is I was riding at Belgian Waffle Ride a couple years ago. Actually, I think it was last year. And Nicholas Roche was there, who's like their athlete. Mm-hmm. And he was on their old Impulso. And he's like, man, like I wish they would do this and this and this and this to the bike. And here it is behind us, which I think is kind of cool. They took pro rider feedback and they made a cool bike. The main thing on this bike that's better though is tire clearance.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be smaller. It used to be less than 40, I think, and now it's a lot more than that. So it's great.
That's good. Good improvement. Let's dive into some tech specs. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
So, first things first, what about stack and reach numbers?
So the stack is going to be 554 millimeters, and the reach is going to be 391 millimeters.
All right. Head tube angle?
71.5 degrees.
And C-tube?
74 degrees.
All right, so pretty on pace with a race gravel bike.
Definitely race geometry out of this bike. Yep.
Let's talk about tire clearance. You said it was improved over the previous generation.
Yeah, so I think the last one was 700 by 38 was the max tire clearance. And for gravel bikes, modern gravel bikes these days, people were definitely asking for more. Mm-hmm. So it's 700 by 42 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely not an adventure bike, but good for racing.
Yeah, internal cable routing, it appears. There's nothing up front.
Yeah, one of the cool things is the comp level. We'll go through to some of the other builds, but this is the third tier down, and you still get the internal cable routing, which is awesome. A lot of people love that look. It is very clean. I like that. Mm-hmm. A little tougher to work on, but more aero and nice to look at. So and I got this bike and pulled it out of the box from Bianchi, and they actually had it like pulled off and put down, and it was easy to kind of put back together. So it wasn't the most complicated internal cable routing that I've seen.
Okay, that's good to hear. As far as the build specs, the build options, you said this was the comp.
Yep.
And they have two others?
Yeah, they have two others. They have the RC, which is their, Reparto Corso or whatever, their top of the line one. And then they have the Pro as well. So this is the comp. And this is going to come with the GRX 610 820 mix.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going to get some different parts on there.
And the one behind us comes with fulcrum wheels, which are metal. So you're not getting carbon wheels for that comp level.
No. Yep. And there's a lot of spokes on those wheels too. So if you're a heavier rider, maybe you want that. If you don't want to ever worry about your wheels coming out of true, maybe these are like bomb-proof wheels. But you could definitely spend a few extra bucks on an upgrade and definitely lighten this bike up a bit by changing the wheels out.
And you mentioned it has 42 millimeters of clearance. What tires did it come with?
It came with the Pirelli Centurados gravels, but the M's, so it came with the mud. It does vary. Sometimes you could get different tires. So yeah, this is the mud ones, and I like those. They were kind of fun to have. I haven't rode those too often. I usually go middle of the road, something that has like a slicker, tread down the middle or something for less rolling resistance. But it seemed to roll pretty well, and those tires definitely hooked up when it got a little bit loose or muddy or something like that. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I think those tires are spec'd really nicely for the build.
Yeah, and another thing I want to touch on are the components, like the stem and the handlebar and the saddle. And the C-post does come with that as well. It's a proprietary C-post. It's not round. The Veloman, I've never heard of that brand. It might be one of their house brands or something like that. But I thought the saddle was actually really comfortable and the bars felt good. So yeah, for being the comp level and having some of that stuff that comes spec'd on it was nice.
And were they alloy or carbon bars?
They were alloy.
Okay.
This is a pretty affordable, like all integrated cables, gravel bike. Usually you have to spend over $5,000 for stuff like that. So this is a lot of features in that, that package. That's less than that. It's great.
Yeah, when you think of Bianchi, you don't always think, affordable, but this one, they made it be affordable for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't want it to be affordable, you want it like the top of the line, like real nice, all spec'd out, and yeah, you can do that with the Impulso line. This is just kind of a little more price point oriented bike.
All right, so what colors are available in the comp build?
Yeah, so the one behind us is the Terra Black Glossy. It's basically like a goldish brown color. I actually like the color a lot. I think it's cool. And then you can get the traditional Celeste. They call it CK16 Graphite Glossy.
Yeah, that's the one I'd go with. Yeah. Got to go with Celeste.
Yeah, it's Celeste. Yeah. So it's a classic color from them.
So what drivetrain options can you run if you want to upgrade from this comp build later on?
Yeah, so you can run anything 1x or 2x. You're not really limited as far as the shifting goes on this particular bike. You are limited on the chainring size, but it's actually really good for gravel bikes. On a 2x, 52 tooth, and then on one by 46 tooth. So it allows you to run some larger chain rings, which is great.
Nice. And I noticed it has a UDH trailer as well, so you can run a mullet setup from SRAM.
Yeah, and that was one of the new improvements on the bike as well. So the new redesign put the UDH on there. And then something that we do talk about in the other videos that we talk about with bikes is this is not a threaded bottom bracket, this is a press fit.
Okay.
So press fit bottom bracket on the Impulso.
You got to spend some time on this bike. How would you describe it climbs?
It's interesting. This bike, you can see the tubes on it. I mean, they're really beefy and it's really responsive when you put the power down. Super stiff frame. It's great. Like if you want an all out and out like gravel race bike, this is going to probably be a good bike for that. In this particular build with those wheels and the parts, it is a little bit heavier than I'd like. So as far as climbing goes, it felt efficient, but it did feel a little sluggish going uphill. And it's really not any blame of the frame. It's just, that's just how it's built. And this is a lower price point bike, so that's all right.
Part of it, you can always upgrade.
You can always upgrade.
Yeah. When it comes to descending, was it confidence inspiring? I know you can only run up to 42 tires, so you're going to limit yourself a little bit there, but did you feel limited by the frame at all?
No, it felt good. I was able to get over the rear wheel going downhill. I was able to get in the drops and I was able to descend on the tops. And yeah, no, it felt really good. Honestly, being a little bit heavier kind of made it felt a little more planted than some of the other bikes that I rode. But it was a little too much. I probably would get rid of some of the weight so you can go uphill a little bit better. But descending, it really was awesome. And it felt really solid, which was nice. There was no cable rattling or anything like that. Due to the internal cable routing, it was really a pretty solid build. Yeah.
Sweet.
I think where this would excel though is like pack riding, let's say Unbound or something like that, where it's like a little bit flatter, maybe rolly terrain, and you're going to be having group dynamics and road race dynamics in the actual gravel race. This would do a good job of that.
Yeah, it's pretty aero too, so if you do have to take your pull, you're not going to be struggling there.
Yeah, and that's nice. I mean, over 200-mile race or longer gravel race, that could really make a difference.
So how does this bike feel? I know you touched on it a little bit, but how does it feel compared to other bikes you've ridden?
Yeah, so
Or what's it similar to?
So like I said, this bike is really responsive as far as power goes. It doesn't feel like you're losing anything to any frame stiffness. It does feel a little harsher than some other bikes that we've rode that have some more compliance built into the frame, but it did feel really fast, and when I put the power down, it was moving. So that was great. And yeah, like I said, I think it's for like pack riding or something like that for gravel race. Yeah, it felt kind of definitely more towards like the race category. For a bike, which is what it's supposed to do, and that's how it felt.
Doesn't have any like extra mounts or anything like that, so it's not made for bike packing.
Yeah, and I love the look of this bike, honestly. It's one of the coolest looking bikes, I think, as far as like the tube shaping goes, and I was way into it. Yeah,
it's definitely unique. So who is this bike for?
Yeah, so this bike is definitely for someone that is firmly wanting to do gravel racing, I think, and they are going to be maybe in the Midwest or something like that, where it's more like rolling terrain. They may have some wind. It's more aerodynamic, so it can cut through the wind a little bit more. I would say like a Midwest gravel racer. This could be a really good option for that. Obviously, you can ride it anywhere, but you and I ride a lot of gravel bikes, and this is kind of where I would put that, honestly.
Yeah. I think for this comp build too, it's for people that maybe want a nicer bike than what they started off on, but don't want to spend a ton of money, but maybe over time they can upgrade parts, and I think it's a good foundation for that.
I think that's a great call out. I didn't even think about the price point, but yeah, this is a more approachable price point for sure than a lot of the bikes that we've been riding. All right, Jonna, so I've kind of talked about this, and we've talked about it being sort of a lower price point Impulso, so it might be a little bit heavier than the RC, I would assume, but let's go weigh it.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to say 22 pounds.
I'm going to go a little less than that. I'm going to go for 21.5 pounds. Oh!
21 pounds, 4 ounces, and 9.55 kilograms.
That's the weight.
There it is. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And if you'd like to, talk about this frame, you have questions about it, reach out to one of our Gearheads. If you do want to do some upgrades, right out before we send it to you, we can do that with the Gearheads as well. So, feel free to reach out to them.
Cool.
And we'll see you out there.
See ya.